Hello, Block 1. Chapter 5 Review. I can intelligently prepare for my test. Really important that you spend time in the next couple of days going through your notes, your videos, your assignments, and making sure you understand everything we've done throughout Chapter 5. As I told you, it was a long chapter. It shut over a long time because of NWEAs and this AVID presentation coming up, so you have to go back to when we return from break to get all of the notes. Practice, practice, practice. The only way to study for a math test is to practice. So I'm going to go through in less than 15 minutes the actual review since I can't be with you today in person. Hopefully this helps. You can always see me on Wednesday for questions, Thursday for questions, send me an email, and I can help you out. So here we go. First thing we worked on in this unit was ratios and proportions, which is the title of the chapter. Remember, ratios are proportionate if cross products are equal. I'll use the cheat sheet column to do examples from time to time, but if you have 2/3, you have 4/6, cross product here is 12, cross product here is 12, we're good. They're proportionate. If they are not equal when you multiply cross products, we do not have proportionality. Number 2, ratios, rates, and unit rates. Ratios, rates, and unit rates. Know the difference between a ratio and a rate. Talked about that. It's also in your notes. Unit rates and unit price have denominators of 1. Compatible numbers also was part of this section. It's a little bit different, kind of its own little thing at the bottom of your 5-2 notes. But compatible numbers, remember, are used when you are estimating, and they are numbers that go well together. At the bottom it says think about them logically. Remember, if you are trying to find compatible numbers and you are dealing with a relatively small amount, if you change that small amount by 2 items, for example, remember that could be a significant change. If you're dealing with a large number and you change by 2 items, that's a very, very small change. So just pay attention to the size of the numbers that you're dealing with when you're establishing compatible numbers before estimating. I'm going to move down to number 3, dimensional analysis. Really the big thing on dimensional analysis is that 5-step process that we talked about. If you understand the 5-step process and you know the 5-step process, dimensional analysis will probably be the easiest part of the test. Remember, you write what you know on the left side of your paper, go all the way to the right side of your paper, write what you want to know. So you got to read the problem. They give you information and they tell you where they want you to take that information or how they want you to convert the units that they gave you. So for example, miles per hour to feet per second. You would write miles per hour on the left side of the paper and feet per second on the right. Letter C, leave a space between the 2 units so that you can start canceling and do the math. D, cancel the units using unit rates or unit rate reciprocals. That means either the bottom is going to be 1 when you're canceling or the top is going to be 1 when you're canceling. My advice always is to cancel 1 unit at a time. Once you have one of your units canceled to whatever you need to solve for, then you work on the other unit or the second unit. Again, use your notes, use your videos, use your examples to refresh your memory on how to do this if you don't remember. And then letter E is the easy part. You do the math. Number 4, solving proportions. To solve proportions, you must use cross products and then solve for the variable using the algebraic process. That one, if you know how to do cross products, like in number 1 or in lesson 5.1, you should be good. Just solve for the variable. Number 6, similar figures. I gave you a reminder on what a similar symbol looks like. Remember, they're the same shape, different size. You're dealing with corresponding angles and sides. So here is my 2 shapes. If you know they are similar, you know that corresponding sides and corresponding angles are going to be similar. So if this is A, B, C, and D, A, B, C, and D, hold on a second, just check something here. Make sure we have everything that I need to have. You have A, B, C, and D, and then you have, again, just give me 1 second, sorry. And then you have A, B, C, and D here, and they're similar figures. Know that side AB here and side AB are going to be similar, and you just need to use your scale factor. You need to use your cross products or your scale factor, depending on which one you want to use, to determine if the shapes are similar. Remember, this is the one in which I wrecked your notes a little bit, and you're supposed to go back and fix them. So in the video for similar figures, I did a voiceover on the part that was wrong. Just make sure that congruence markers are not part of what you use. And then in the bottom of 5.5 is where you were introduced to scale factor. And really, this is what we struggled with on 5.7 and 5.8 especially, was how to calculate scale factor. Remember, scale factor is simply the ratio, or is simply the quotient of the scale. So if you have a scale of 1 to 2, the scale factor is going to be 0.5. If you have a scale of 3 to 1, the scale factor is going to be 3. So it's always the first number divided by the second number. And remember, a number less than 1 shrinks an object, a number greater than 1 enlarges an object. So depending on what you want to do, use your scale to come up with scale factor and do whatever you need to do to the shape in terms of enlarging or shrinking. Dilations, this is why I pause a little bit on number 5. Dilations is where you were finally introduced to image markers. So if I go back to what I gave you here in number 5 with A, B, C, and D, and then I gave you the second A, B, C, and D, and they're similar. Remember, the image is the one with the prime markers, and the prime markers are the little slashes above the letter. So they just show that that is the copy, or that is the image. This is where it got a little bit tricky here. I think this is probably the most challenging part of the chapter, in which you're dealing with center of dilation. If it's the origin, it's easy. Origin as center, easy, you just multiply by the given scale factor. If it's not the origin, you have to use slope and corresponding vertices. And study the notes I sent in the January 30th update. Okay, the January 30th update gives you the exact process. Many of you said once you read that update, you were able to calculate the center of dilation much more easily. Remember, that dealt with slope, multiplying coordinates by the top number of the coordinates by the slope, and the bottom number by the slope, depending on what it is that you are looking at. So probably a lot easier if you just ignore what I'm saying right now, but if you just go back and use your January 30th update to help you with that, highly, strongly, greatly encourage you to do that. Indirect measurement, draw a picture, 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 draw a picture. I don't know if I've said it, but draw a picture. If you draw a picture, you are going to get a better idea of what you're trying to solve and what you're looking for. You must be able to use proportions or scale factor to calculate indirect measurement. Again, back to scale factor. Calculated from the given scale. See 5.5 notes. I just talked about it in 5.5. Also go back to your 5.5 notes. It's the quotient of the scale. It's the quotient of the scale. Number 8, scales. Remember, the first thing you're given is the drawing dimension. The second thing is the actual. So scales go from drawing to actual. If it's not a drawing, it goes from the model to the actual. So this is not drawing divided by model. Drawing and models basically are the same thing. They're the representations. Just trying to explain to you that it is the model to the actual, or it is the drawing to the actual. Very important that you know that, especially when it comes to reducing, enlarging, and preserving questions like we had in our 5.8 homework. You must be able to use proportions or scale factor to solve. You must be able to solve using either proportions or scale factor when dealing with scale drawings and scale models, and going between the drawing and the actual, the model and the actual, or vice versa. So this is just a quick summary of what you need to know. The most important thing, if you watch this video and that is all you do to study for the test, you're probably not going to do so hot. The video just gives you a reminder of what you need to go back and study. Use your notes, use your videos, use your assignments, use your review to study for the test. Again, watching this video will not ensure that you do well on the test. This is just a quick reminder of what you need to study. Good luck. Have a great day. See you all on Wednesday. And study smart, study intelligently for this test.